إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم صلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا سندي يا حبيبي يا طبيبي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا رحمة للعالمين نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين خوف اعظم بمن بے سر و ساما مدد قبلہ دی مدد کعبہ ایما مدد قادریم نعرہ یا غوث اعظم زنم دم شیخ احمد رضا خان قدر عالم زنم سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ زندہ باد مسلک سرکار اعلیٰ اعلیٰ حضرت زندہ باد یا الہی مسلک احمد رضا خان زندہ باد حفظ ناموس رسالت کا جو ذمہ دار ہے سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ زندہ باد مسلک سرکار اعلیٰ اعلیٰ حضرت زندہ باد سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ زندہ باد حامل فیض رضا مصطفیٰ امداد کن صلی اللہ علیہ النبی الامی وآلہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم صلاة والسلام علیک یا سیدی یا سندی یا حبیبی یا طبیبی یا رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم وعلى آلک واصحابک یا رحمة للعالمین. All praise is due to Almighty Allah. Durood and salams upon the most perfect, exalted and glorified of Allah's creation, Sayyiduna wa Mawlana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His blessings and salutations upon the Anbiya Kiram and the Vidya Thal, Sahab Kiram, Khulafa Rashidin, Tabain, Tabi Tabain, Aimai Mujtahideen, Awliya Kamilin, and all those who follow their path until the last day. We thank Almighty Allah for His infinite mercy and to the Wasilah of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for affording us the opportunity to congregate for Salat al-Jum'ah and to prostrate in His most exalted court. Alhamdulillah, today is Yawm al-Jum'ah and it is also the day of gyarvi of Sarkar Gause and Shaykh Muhyiddin Abdul Qadir Jilani Baghdadi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Alhamdulillah, last night we commemorated the gyarvi sharif of Sarkar gauspaak radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and we discussed some issues from the barakat and the life of Sarkar gauspaak radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. We know that Almighty Allah, by His divine grace and by His mercy, has placed in the entire dunya radiant and luminous beacons that are there for our guidance. Throughout the world, they are very bright and very radiant and very luminous beacons that are there for the sake of our guidance and so that we may not divert from Sirat-e-Mustaqim. The most destructive thing for a Muslim is when he diverts from Sirat-e-Mustaqim. And this Sirat-e-Mustaqim is so important. This Sirat-e-Mustaqim is so important. Actually, the importance of it, you understand even more when you stand for ibadat in the court of Allah. When you stand for ibadat in the court of Allah, you understand even more the importance of this Sirat-e-Mustaqim, this straight path, this righteous path. It is so important, it is so vital, it is so meritorious that 5 times a day, in every rak'at of that salah, of that ibadah, you are saying, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Have you thought of it in that way? 5 times in a day, in every rak'at, you are making dua in your salah. Allah is commanding you to make dua. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. You are saying to Allah, oh Allah, guide us on the straight path. Guide us on the straight path, the righteous path. In other words, keep us guided on it. Because when you are a Muslim, you are already on Sirat al-Mustaqim. Not like the Bad Mazhabs, they say the meaning is show us the straight path. If we ourselves don't know the straight path, where are we going to show others? Allah's Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam finished show us that the straight path is the path which leads you to Allah and His beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's why Allah Hadrat translated it that guide us, keep us guided on the straight path. Okay? So 5 times in a day, every rakat, without Surah Fatiha, no namaz. You can't decide to read Salah and not read Surah Fatiha. The important and the most important part of that rakat is your Surah Fatiha. Whether you read Farz, whether you read Wajib, whether you read Nafil, whether you read Sunnah, you have to read Surah Fatiha. And in that Surah Fatiha, your time in over-reading Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. You are making dua in the court of Allah, keep us guided on the righteous path. Keep us guided on the straight path. But after that, you are saying something very important Allah is telling you. You are saying, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. You are saying, guide us. You are saying to Allah, guide us. And who is telling you how to make dua? Allah. Surah Fatiha is Quran. It's Kalam of Allah. So Allah is telling you that my banda, this is how you do it. In every rakat, every salah, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. You are saying in the court of Allah, guide us on the straight path. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. And then after that, Allah is telling you to emphasize Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. Allah is saying to you, make dua in your salah, guide us on the straight path of Allah, the path of those Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim, upon whom you have bestowed your favors and your blessings and your barakah. In other words, Allah is telling you to say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us in the straight path. And after that, Allah is telling you also which is the straight path. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed your favors and your blessings and your mercy. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin, not the path of those upon whom you have sent down your wrath, and not the path of those who have gone astray, those who have deviated. But we are being told that Sirat al-Mustaqim is what? The straight path is what? Is the path on which Allah sent His favors. The path of those, Sirat al-Ladhina. Not the path, but the path of those. Sirat al-Ladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed your favors. Now I want you to go back in history and see upon whom Allah bestowed His favors. Upon whom Allah bestowed His favors? Allah bestowed His favors upon the believers always. Allah bestowed His favors upon the most and the greatest favors of Allah have been bestowed upon Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So firstly, Sirat al-Mustaqim is the Sirat of Muhammadur Rasulullah. Sirat al-Mustaqim is the path of Muhammadur Rasulullah, because the greatest bounties of Allah upon His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The path upon which, the path of those upon whom Allah bestowed His favors, the path of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the path of Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, the path of Osman Dhul Nurain radiallahu anhu, the path of Ali Murtada radiallahu anhu, the path of Hazrat Bilal Habashi radiallahu anhu, the path of Hazrat Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, the path of Hazrat Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, the path of Hazrat Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the path of Hazrat Abdullah ibn Rawaha radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This is the path upon which Allah bestowed His favors. This is the path upon which Allah bestowed His favors. So Allah bestowed His favors upon that path, which is the path of Muhammadur Rasulullah, that path which is the path of the Sahaba and the Ahl Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the path upon which Allah bestowed His favors, and that is the path of Shaykh Mahyuddin Abdul Qadir al-Jilani al-Baghdadi. That is the path of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu. That is the path of Sultan al-Hind Khajagan Khaja Mu'inuddin Chishti Ajmeri radiallahu anhu. That is the path of Hazrat Baba Fariduddin Gani Shakar radiallahu anhu. That is the path of Hazrat Sayyidina Ali Ahmad Sabir Alavuddin radiallahu anhu. That is the path of Hazrat Makhdoom Samna radiallahu anhu. That is the path of Sarkar Ala Hazrat Adimul Barkat radiallahu anhu. That is the path of Hudur Hujjatul Islam, the path of Mufti Azam, the path of Sadr Sharia, the path of Mufassir Azam, the path of Huzur Taj Sharia, the path of Hudur Muhaddis Kabir today, the path of Hudur Qaili Millat, and the path of the Ahl Sunnah. Which is it? Which is it? The one that you're making dua for in namaz. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. When you read it in your salah, pay attention. Pay attention what we are asking for. We are asking for guidance, and at the same time you are asking for protection from misguidance. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. People say that only say that which is positive, don't refute and oppose. In Surah Fatiha you have to oppose. In Surah Fatiha you have to oppose. You are praising the path of those on whom Allah has bestowed His favors, and you are asking Allah to protect you from the path of the deviants. Starting off with Surah Fatiha, this is the same message of the Quran, which is the message of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu. This is the same message which is the message of Bareli Sharif. This is the message of Maslaki Ala Hadrat, the message which is in your Surah Fatiha that we are reciting. Think about it. Sarkar Gause Pak radiallahu an, when you look at their life and you look at the zindagi of Sarkar Gause Azam Jilani al-Baghdadi radiallahu ta'ala an, and if you ponder upon it and if you contemplate, you know, how much of time do people spend contemplating? How much of time do we spend in tafakkur, in fikr, in thinking? In your day, think about it for a moment. And I think it's very important to try to understand that how much of time does each person spend just contemplating, just thinking, not thinking about how much money you and I got. Because when we say how much time do you spend thinking, this is what we think about. Not how much money you're going to make, not how many houses you are going to build, not how soon you're going to become a millionaire, not thinking about how many cars I will be able to buy, not thinking about how many holidays I would be able to have. When we say do you spend any time thinking and contemplating, then it means do you contemplate and think that in the time that I've spent in this dunya up to now, how much time have I spent to please my Rabb, and how much time have I spent disobeying my Rabb? This is called contemplating. This is called lamhai fikr. This is called using your moments in life to think about. Sarkar Gause Pak taught us it's very important. He taught us very importantly that in this dunya, keep it only attached for the sake of your body, but keep your heart prepared for the hereafter. In the heart should be the hereafter. This dunya will become fana. Look at the condition. Look at our own homes. Talking about Gausapak radiallahu anhu. Do you know how much mujahidah he used to make? Do you know how much dhikr he used to make? Today you say, hum Ghaus wale hai, hum Khaja wale hai. But still we want to associate with those who are the enemies of Gausapak. We want to be friends with those who say that Gausapak radiallahu anhu's gyarvi sharif is shirk and bidat. We want to be friends with those, Allah forbid, who have said and written that it is compared to the awliya Allah, the pious servants of Allah. They have written and said very clearly that to go to Ajmer, to the court of Sarkar Khaja Garibun Nawaz, is worse than a person making zina with his mother. They have written this. The Padmasams have said this. And we want to associate with them? This is where our akal is. And we still say we want to follow Gausapak, contemplate. It's time to wake up. Look at the condition of the Muslim Ummah. Look at this, what is happening in the dunya. Today, we sit our kids in our cars and drive them towards Guna. How many of us are taking our children to the cinema and to clubs and to parties and taking our daughters to spend the entire night with their friends doing Guna and haram? We drive our children towards this. We are sponsoring the destruction of our own communities. We are sponsoring the destruction of our own children. We are putting those things in their hand that is the cause of the destruction of their deen. Is this what your worth of your child is? Is this what we call love? You want to see the worth of a child? Ask the mother whose child just died in Palestine. Ask those more than 2,000 mothers whose children have been bombed to pieces in Palestine by the Yahud. Ask them what is the value of the awlad, who after this has happened still smile and say that kuch bhi hua, my child is a martyr in the court of Allah. Think about this. It's time to contemplate. It is time for you and us to reevaluate our lives. It is time for us to look at what we want to do to our children. Look at there, every child is born, and the first words after their deen that they teach their child is, son or daughter, be prepared to be a martyr. What are you teaching your children? What are we teaching our children? And I message to my youth, what short have you have in this dunya? What have your parents kept you short of? Every ni'mat Allah has given you here. But we do not want to put our heads in sajda. You find it difficult to go to the masjid. You find it difficult to honor your parents. You find it difficult to read the Quran. Compare your life to that child in Palestine. Compare. There is no comparison. But still we want to say, hum nek parezgar hai. We still want to say, we love the awliya Allah. Yes, love means follow what they commanded. Think about these times. Think about these difficulties. Think about what they have gone through on important times like this. When making dua for your wealth and for your house and your properties, the first thing you should be making dua is for those Muslims there today. Making dua for the protection of the iman of your children. To end today's lecture, and I'm trying to be keeping it on time as much as possible. In the next 2 or 3 minutes we should be done, 10 to. I'm going to read something to you that I wrote. I'm going to read, I shared it a few days back, but I want to read it to those of you that probably didn't see it. And I'm going to read something that I wrote, and it's from my heart. And it's from all your hearts also. So I want you to listen with your heart and make dua. The hypocrisy of Israel is visible in Gaza's bombing. The hypocrisy of Israel
is visible in Gaza's bombing, while weeping over their own Gaza's children they are killing. While weeping over their own Gaza's children they are killing. In retaliation, their true colors, the Zionists are showing. In retaliation, their true colors, the Zionists are showing. The blood of the Palestinians, they are ruthlessly spilling. The blood of the Palestinians, they are ruthlessly spilling. The killing of innocent civilians, the West is condemning. What is happening in Ukraine? They're condemning it. The killing of innocent civilians, the West is condemning. But the killing of innocent Palestinians, the West is supporting. But the killing of innocent Palestinians, the West is supporting. Collateral damage to the deaths of little children they are referring. Collateral damage to the deaths of little children they are referring. Every bomb which falls in Gaza, the West is dropping. Every bomb that falls in Gaza, the West is dropping. But let me tell you, you can bomb their homes, kill their children, and leave them starving. You can bomb their homes, kill their children, and leave them starving. But Palestine will never die. Its legacy will continue living. Palestine will never die. Its legacy will continue living. Even in their coffins, even in their shrouds, every Palestinian child is announcing. Even in their coffin, every Palestinian child is announcing, Israel may have killed me, but my spirit is still living. Israel must have killed me, but my spirit is still living. This is not about looking for perpetrators or simply retaliating. This is not about looking for perpetrators or simply retaliating. It is a war against Islam. This is not about looking for perpetrators or simply retaliating. It is a war against Islam. This is the reality of Gaza's bombing. Whilst claiming human rights they are violating. Whilst claiming human rights they are violating. By bombing the people of Gaza, every rule they are transgressing. By bombing the people of Gaza, every rule they are transgressing. Even in such a time, remember, don't get caught up in this time. Okay, we're going to stand with Gaza, but we're going to hold the Wahhabi's hand also. We're going to kiss the Rafzi also. Even in such a time, with the deviants we shall not be uniting. Even in such a time, with the deviants we shall not be uniting. Fall not into their traps, Yahudi agents they are being. Fall not into their traps, Yahudi agents they are being. And all of our dua, oh Allah, have mercy over the Palestinian people suffering. Oh Allah, have mercy upon the Palestinian people suffering. For decades in this condition, your servants have been suffering. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, place upon them your sight of blessing. Ya Rasulullah, place upon them your sight of blessing in your grand court for their safety. We are begging from Medina to Baghdad, from Medina to Baghdad, and from Ajmer to Bareilly weeping, from Medina to Baghdad and from Ajmer to Bareilly weeping for the Muslims of Palestine. All the believers are praying. Without dua for the Palestinians, none of us should be sleeping. Without dua for the Palestinians, none of us should be sleeping. The pain which they feel, like a single body we should be feeling. The pain which they feel, like a single body we should be feeling. To all of you today, Taj Sharia slave is appealing. To all of you today, Taj Sharia slave is appealing. Support the Palestinians. Their plight do not be forsaking. The successor of Taj Sharia, my Qaid Millat, is announcing, show your solidarity with those whom the Zionists are oppressing. In Muhaddis Kabir's du'as, the Palestinian Muslims are being. In the heart of every Muslim, the Palestinian Muslims are living. In the court of Gause Khaja and Raza Afthab is pleading. In the court of Gause Khaja and Raza Afthab is pleading. Please shade the Palestinian Muslims from the Zionist bombing. وَمَعَنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغ. Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave this world with Iman. Those that are ill, Allah grant them shifa. Those that have passed away, Allah exalt them in Jannah. Allah bless the Muslims of Palestine. Allah have mercy upon them. Dua for Sajida Sultan, dua shifa for her. Allah grant her shifa kamil set ajil. Our Ibrahim Bhai, Zahir Bhai's brother-in-law, whose mother passed away a few days back. Allah make her maghfirat, exalt her in Jannat al-Firdaus. Dua for those that we know of, know not of, have passed away, the Ahle Sunnah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen our deen and our iman and keep us from mazhab by mazhab, mazhab by Ahle Sunnat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أفضل ذكر لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلا الله 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الله 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا حي يا قيوم 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا شيخ سيد عبد القادر الجيلاني شأن الله شأن الله شأن الله غفني بإذن الله طفيل حضرت دستگیر دشمن ہوئے زیر طفیل حضرت دستگیر دشمن ہوئے